Paxton, you're on mute if you're talking.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. So a lot of you are already signing in. Thank you all for doing that. If you will go ahead and sign in, please do so. We'll get started in just a minute. I have some people still joining. Perfect. And then just as a reminder, today's session will be recorded so that we can post it on the website and on YouTube for everyone who can't join us this afternoon. Okay, perfect. Okay, so while we're waiting on some people to get in, I do have some special guests in the room. So we have some of our state officers are here to join us, which is special because they don't always get to join us when we're in person. So a positive thing to the virtual format. So Jacob Schoenfeld from Central Tech, he's our president. He is with us today. Hussein Ali from Putnam City High School is here, and he's one of our vice presidents. We have Carson Brown, our newly elected historian chaplain from Meridian Technology Center, and he is with us today, and so is Nathan Slater from Deer Creek High School, and he is our reporter this year. So all of them are with us. So hello, and Jacob is actually going to be helping me man the waiting room. So Jacob, when you see people, go ahead and let them in. Okay, perfect. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. And feel free to stop me if you have questions. We have 2 hours scheduled for this. I don't expect the presentation to last that long, but I have made sure that we have time afterwards for discussion, for any questions, so that you can leave feeling confident about the 2020-2021 school year. Okay, so first up, you're seeing a screen, and it says, why go back to being normal when we can go back to being better? And that's kind of going to be our mantra for this year. You know, we were striving to be better before March. Let's strive to keep being better. And that's what we're going to do for our students this year, for our chapters and advisors, making your membership really matter this school year, even with all of the changes. Okay. Just as another reminder for those who have just joined us, if you have, this will be recorded so that we can post it later. I will be sending out a link later today with our recording, linking to YouTube and all the information how to access that. Okay, most importantly, if you take anything out of this update session, is to know that I am here for you. So feel free to email me if you have questions, feel free to call me if you have questions. That's my job. I am here to answer your questions, to make sure that you are comfortable getting through the year, that your BPA chapter is thriving, and that you are ready to go, whether it's for just chapter membership, whether it's for activities within your chapter, virtual or on site, if it's questions about a conference, anything and anything, just let me know. My contact information is there. And usually I have about a 24-hour or less response time. So I try to be as accessible to you all as possible. Okay, so before we get started, I would like to introduce you all to our State Executive Council for 2020-2021. Shown here is Carson Brown. He is our newly elected historian chaplain. He went through a completely virtual screening about 3 weeks ago. So, and he's from Meridian Technology Center. He's done a great job so far. Audrey Martin from Central Technology Center Drumright is our parliamentarian. We have Mason McGeehee from Pontotoc Technology Center. He is our secretary. Kinsey Qualls is our mid-level representative from Stratford Middle School. We have Jessie Ross from Canadian Valley Technology Center in the Yukon campus. She's one of our vice presidents. Nathan Slater from Deer Creek High School Francis Tuttle, and he is our reporter. We have Hussein Ali from Putnam City High School. He is one of our vice presidents. And Jacob Schoenfield from Central Technology Center Drumright, and he is our president this year. Okay, a recap from this last year. Membership, we had 6,599 members, so awesome job, advisors. That is all due to your hard work in your local chapters. And that kept us as the third largest state in the BPA nation, something we're very proud of. We had a total of 331 chapters this past year, so awesome job. Just as a caveat, this year, I know that it's going to be hard to raise membership. Our goal is to maintain. And if we lose membership, then we'll just keep pushing out virtual things so that maybe we can grab some of those students. We're going to try to make your membership dollars really stretch so that we can market BPA to your students this year, whether they are on site or whether they're virtual or a hybrid. And we want to make sure that we're giving you more than what you're paying for with your membership dollars to really make those memberships count. Okay, introducing you to our Oklahoma SEAC members. You probably know most of them. These are our Classroom Educators Advisory Council, and they help write our contests and advise about different things that have to go into the WASP guide and things like that. It is a volunteer job. They don't get paid, so it's a lot of long hours, a lot of work that they put in, and we're really grateful for their service. If you are interested in assisting, especially this year because most things are virtual, there's kind of low costs associated with it. So if you are interested in helping with SEAC, please let me know and I can get you in touch with the people on national staff who can put you in the right direction on how you can help. So we have Roberta Sams, who is teaching at Epic Charter Schools now. We have Athena Frank from Central Technology Center Drumright, and Daniel Teiser from Moore Norman Technology Center. So thank you all for your hard work and dedication. I've heard nothing but good things from national staff about SEAC this year. They already have tests written and audited, and I think that we are looking at a great WASP guide for this coming year. So we should be really happy with the work that they've put out, and I know that our Oklahoma SEAC members are always working very hard on their projects. We also have 3 Oklahoma advisors on the National BPA Board of Trustees, which is something to be very proud of. So we have Athena Frank from Central Technology Center Drumright serving as our post-secondary advisor. Natasha Smith from Union High School serving as a secondary advisor. And we have Trent Hughes, who was just elected back in May, and he's serving as our middle level advisor. So thank you all for your service. We're proud that we have 3 phenomenal advisors on our Board of Trustees representing Oklahoma and National BPA as a whole. Okay, so the 2020-2021 national membership theme this year is Envision, Empower, Ignite. The national officer team has released some videos about that and some different graphics, so I encourage you to go look at their social media accounts and see kind of what they're going towards with this theme. We'll be using it throughout the year, and that's what you'll be seeing from the national office as well. Okay, so a big question on everybody's mind, dues. National BPA dues will be $14 for secondary and post-secondary. Mid-level will be $10. State, $6. This is remaining the same from last year. So if you heard the rumors about a dues increase, there is no dues increase this year. So we're going to remain the same, $20 for a state and national fee. Whatever you charge as a chapter is up to you and will be additional to that. Remember that national and state dues need to be sent directly to National BPA, and you can register your members at registermychapter.com. And in a moment, we'll talk to Mr. Birch, who is actually on the call, and he's going to talk to you about some of the points of the new membership system. So a big applause for no dues increase. So that was a recent change, and we're excited about that. So no confusion there. Still $20 for state and national. We still do have our affiliation fee, and that is if you are a fully funded high school or middle school program, you can use $400 of your program funds to pay for 20 members for their state and national dues. So remember, the big thing about that is that whether you have 5 members or 20 members, you're still paying that full $400. So we advise you to use those 20 spots. And if you have any questions about that, there's a link there. It's pretty easy to get to on the website as well. So if you go under members on the Oklahoma BPA website, there is a high school affiliation page where you can watch the YouTube video about it. There's a guide there, information on where to send your invoices and things like that. And it's also worked into the membership system, thanks to National BPA. Okay, something new this year, I know some of you have taken advantage of, is that for our conferences this year, you will be able to pay anything that comes to our office by credit card if you would like. So that is an option for you. And you will just call Valerie and she'll take your credit card over the phone. We're using Square, so you'll be able to do that. I believe the processing fee is 3.5%. So just remember that you'll have that additional thing. You're still okay to pay by PO or by check, but this is just an additional service that we're offering. Okay, so if you have logged on to the membership system, you will see that it looks a little bit different than it has in the past. And that is because BPA has rolled out a new membership registration system, as well as the BPA Gateway, both of which were talked about a little bit on August 5th at the summer conference session by Patrick Schultz and Mark Birch, titled Competitive Events in BPA 365. That is now on YouTube if you would like to go back and watch it in depth. But we do have Mr. Birch here today. And if he is ready, I will turn it over to him to talk a little bit about the membership side.
Awesome. Thank you, Paxton. Do I have the ability to share my screen?
Yes,
maybe?
you do.
Hope everyone is doing well today. It's always great to be back with my friends here in Oklahoma, as I still reside here in Oklahoma, of course. I'm just now with National BPA and enjoying every single minute of it. Like Paxton said, we have a lot of voice at the national level, especially with 3 members on our board of trustees. And so I can tell you that from experience, if you ever have ideas or suggestions, all of those people are more than welcome to listen and try to bring those forward. And if you're not aware, of course, if you're a new advisor, you never had to deal with our old antiquated membership system that is from the Flintstone age. And so I'm happy that we can now go towards this new one. So let me go here. Get this out of the way. Can everyone see my screen okay? Just give me a thumbs up if you can. Perfect. Okay. So this is the new membership system screen. If you're not aware, it's register.bpa.org. We also still have our student portal. And so if you just go here and click on student member login, you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and log in just to let you see what this looks like. And if you have questions along the way, someone stop me, put it in chat. Paxton, I'll let you monitor that. I am going to drill down because I have a lot more screens than what you're going to see. I'm going to log into my National BPA training chapter. So this is what you should see whenever you log in for the first time. And initially, you should be able to use your login credentials from last year's system to get you into this new system. The only caveat there is this: if you're an advisor that had a login for middle level, secondary, and post-secondary, you'll want to use your secondary membership login to access the system for the first time. When you first log in, it's going to ask you to confirm or update your information at your school, and it's also probably going to prompt you to change your password initially. So once you get all of that done, it's going to bring you here to your chapter. And as you can see here in the middle screen, I put in a test student just so you can see what it looks like when your students are here. If I go back to actually one of my chapters, you can see over here on the left, if it's pending, that means you've entered them into the system, but you've not yet submitted your invoice. If it says member next to it, that means we have an invoice number attached to that member and they've already been paid. Here's one very important thing to remember when it comes to your students being able to access the membership portal. or being able to access any of our resources on the BPA gateway, you have to submit your students, because that's the process that provides them access to those systems, because it uses their member ID as well as their password that you actually set for them initially. So if you don't submit them, they won't have access to the membership portal, which is where they'll do their Torch Awards resume and things like that, and they won't be able to access BPA Gateway. So if you wanted to add a student, you would basically just go to Add Students. And there's multiple ways you can do this. You can do it individually on the individual member entry form. Keep in mind that any of the fields highlighted in red or outlined in red are required. And so you have to put those in there. And then if you want to do it individually, you can do save and finish. You can do save and add next member. One thing we don't have, because this is a brand new system, but it will be available for next year, is the import feature. So previously, you could just import all of your members from a previous year into this year. We don't have that, of course, because it's a brand new system and this one's not talking to the old system. But what you can do, if you have multiple members, you can click on this bulk CSV upload, and then you can download the CSV template, fill in all the information, save it to your desktop, and then simply drag and drop it into this area. If you use this feature or the bulk member here, where you can just actually sit here and type in things right from this screen, regardless of how you do it, you want to make sure you hit save. Because if you do all that work and you don't hit save, it's not going to have that information in there. One question we always get is, do we have to add all of our members at once? No. If you want to add 5 now, 5 later, you can do that. And I can tell you that even with Oklahoma's affiliation fee, as you do that, the system will know how many you've added, and it won't start charging you again until you add that 21st member. So that's kind of the process of adding your members. Let's say that you want to submit them. Over here on the left, there would be a little checkbox, and you would hit the checkbox, and then you would go over here and hit submit. So let's go back so I can show you that process. So Johnny Test, he's not been submitted yet. I would just click on the select button. I would hit submit membership. It's going to ask you to read the disclaimer. Once you do that, we'll click here. We've read, understand, and it's going to come up again. It's just saying by clicking confirm, you're saying that you're going to pay those membership dues. And also, no members can be deleted, substituted, or edited after 5 business days. So let's say that you submit it today, and then all of a sudden you figure out that Johnny's no longer going to be in your class because they're transporting him out of there somewhere else. You would need to contact me. You can email me, mbirch@bpa.org, and I can get them taken off for you. You can email Paxton. She can forward it on to me. But the reason that 5 days is important is because with our accounting software, after that 5 business days, it locks us out, and it's an act of Congress to try to go back in there and get it unlocked to get that done. So I always tell people, make sure you're 100% sure that the students in your class, they're going to be a member, just to prevent any of those problems moving forward. As you can see here, yours would pop up differently. This is for a national virtual chapter, so they only pay national membership dues, and we don't have state dues for them. So if you wanted to go ahead and pay it or submit it, you would just hit confirm. If you see an issue here for whatever reason, I would close it and contact Paxton before you submit it, just to make sure everything is going through smoothly. You can also export the invoice by hitting the export button. I'm not going to do that just yet, just because I don't want to mess with this test student just yet based on some other trainings I've got coming up. So I would just close it, and you have a couple of options whenever you submit it. We do now accept credit card payments for those schools that like to pay by credit card. With this disclaimer, there is also a 3% processing fee if you choose to pay by credit card. You're not required. You can also do a submit by PO, which means you would want to download the invoice, give that to your school administration, get your PO number approved, and then come back in, and you can go under invoice history, and there'll be an invoice number listed here that you can click on and add that PO number to it. That way, your date matches the date that you're actually submitting that invoice. Because if you recall in the past, a lot of schools were like, well, hey, you submitted it on this date, your PO wasn't approved until this date, so it wasn't matching. This allows you to go back in and put in that PO number so everything matches for your accounting people. So let me go over here to chat. I don't know if, Paxton, is there anything in the chat for me? I saw it go off, but.
No, I think I've answered
Okay.
all of the questions. It was mainly just getting added to new chapters and things like that.
Perfect. So once you're in here, any of these buttons are called action buttons. So when you click on these, you can, you're not going to see state admin or admin functions. You're going to see pin request, change my password, or log out. These are tabs. So if you ever hear someone mention tabs, you can go to chapter information and you can update things here if you would like to, your address, graduating. This just means what is the highest grade level for your chapter and how do you want to treat those members when they leave your chapter. And you can move them on to various, they can go on to alumni. I just always leave it on move to various chapters because if you have a student move out of your school district somewhere else, we can still go and find them in the membership system. If you need to add an advisor to your chapter, maybe you have a helper, you could just go here, add new advisor, complete their information, and it would be part of your chapter. Keep in mind when you do that, if you're the primary advisor, you're going to want to make sure and list them as a secondary advisor. Because if you don't change it when you're adding them, by default, it makes them primary. So just make sure you look at that. It'll still give anyone that you add as a new advisor access to the system to be able to manage your chapter. The conference feature's coming. That's going to be phase 2 of our new project here with DLG. We're hoping that that's going to be released in October, first part of October. Again, invoice history, if you want to go pull an invoice and print it or know where that student was paid, an invoice number would be listed here. You would just click on it. It'll open the invoice for you. Quick links. These are ones that we add here at National Center, and these are the ones that we have for now. And as you can see, this is where the member gateway will be. Your member gateway password will be the same as your DLG password because those two systems do talk to each other and it authenticates based on that. So if you're a local advisor, you're going to see all of the local advisor resources plus what the student sees. If you're a student, you're only going to see what the student sees and has access to in that BPA member gateway. State information. This is just stuff that Paxton can put in there for you. I think she can even add some links on her end. Resources. This is an important one, and we will continue to add things in here. But as of now, if you need help navigating this DLG system, you can download the Chapter Advisor Registration System Manual. And we've also released the Chapter Handbook for 2020-21. For some of you longtime advisors, you're going to notice that that document is a lot more robust than it used to be. Last year, it was about 34 pages. This year, it's at 92. But we feel like we wanted to give enough information in there on our programs, our resources, their sample local chapter calendars, program of work, you name it. If you need it for your chapter to be successful, it is in there. We're not using eStore just yet. That could be where we have to house national virtual events for students to register for those. We could also eventually put stuff from our store on there, but we're not ready to move there yet. Surveys, let's say Paxton wants your feedback on something. She can put a survey right here in the system. and you will get a prompt whenever you open up and log into DLG that there's a survey available. The other important one for you is going to be Torch Awards. This is where you can go and find any of your students that have submitted a Torch Award resume, and you would be able to approve them right from this screen too. If you've been given access to do that at the local level, you can. I believe at the state level, Paxton has a Miss Jackie, I think, still approves those for the Statesman Awards and things like that at the national level or state level. But you can go and pull a report to see who is actually submitted for that. On the student side, when they log in, it's a much easier navigation for them to enter Torch Awards now. There's a drop down, they click on it, it shows them how to enter it, what the wording has to be, and it even shows them a progress bar now of how many points they need for each level. And the great thing about it is once they're approved at that level, they will automatically be able to download a digital certificate based on local, state, or national awards for Torch Awards. So the last thing I was going to show you real quick is if you click on the membership information toggle button, this will show you how many paid members, unpaid, if you have any unsubmitted. So if you ever get an email that says, hey, you have so many members unsubmitted, you could go click on this link here. And because I'm in the training chapter, there's nothing there. But it would show you which members have not yet been submitted. So with that, I know that's a quick overview. There's a lot in here. I think it's going to be a lot easier to navigate once you get used to it. Are there any questions for me in regards to this system?
Mark, we did have
Yes.
one in the chat that talked about how many primary advisors, and that you can only have one. Is that correct?
That's correct. One primary advisor, everyone else is secondary. I also see for the PO address, that's still correct. The PO box is where all of those payments would go to if you pay by check. And that address will also be listed on the invoice that you're able to download and provide to your accounting department. Anything else? Awesome. The last thing that I was going to mention, since Paxton was gracious enough to give me time here, we know it's going to be a difficult year. We know that there's going to be hybrid learning models. We know that some are going to be totally virtual, but I can tell you that we are aimed and ready if the ongoing pandemic warrants it, to where we had to cancel NLC again. And right now we're moving forward as if we're going to be on site. But if we're not, we're fully prepared to offer a full virtual conference with every single one of our WASP events as well as our virtual events. So just know that we're primed and ready should we have to take that direction based on the current global climate. So if there's no other questions for me, we greatly appreciate what you guys do in the classroom, because we know it's not easy. We know a lot of times none of you get paid more for having to manage these programs and chapters. So please know from me and being in your shoes that it's greatly appreciated, and your service to our students is outstanding. So thank you very much.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Mr. Birch. I appreciate you coming in to talk about that new system. I know we'll probably be getting questions as you get in there, and that's completely fine. So feel free to email me. And then if I don't know the answer or can't direct you to where it is in the manual so that you can find it, we will forward those questions on to Mr. Birch, and he's always really fast to respond to our questions. So thanks, Mark. I appreciate it. Okay, so I'm gonna go back to sharing my screen. Pull up the chat and everything. Okay, so another big question on everyone's minds are about our conferences this year. So here's our 2020-2021 conference schedule. FLC is October 5th. It will be virtual this year, and I'm going to go into more detail about that in a few moments. State Leadership Conference, March 9th through 10th, 2021. We're currently planning for it to be in Tulsa at the Hyatt Regency and using the PAC, the Tulsa Performing Arts Center, for our auditorium. That's currently being planned as an on-site conference right now. And the National Leadership Conference, as you know, is scheduled to be in Orlando, Florida this year, and that is from May 5th through 9th, 2021. So we're going to dive into each of these conferences now and go from there. Mark, are you still on the call?
Yes, ma'am.
We do have a question in the chat. Do you see that from Cindy Newman?
Is she talking about the chapter handbook?
Yes. So she's asking if you have to be registered to be able to access that.
No, I will put a link here in the chat that everyone can go to be able to download that. And then, like I said, it's also in the DLG, but I will also send a link that's public facing that they can access that in just a moment.
Okay, perfect. And I believe that that is on our advisory quick link section on our Oklahoma BPA website as well.
It is Paxton. That's where I printed mine off.
Okay, perfect. Thanks, Trent. Okay, so FLC 2020. Let's talk about this virtual conference. So I promise you that it's going to be an experience like nothing before. And I know that we've heard a lot about that this year and how this is our new normal and a big change and all of that. But let me tell you that your officer teams have put together some great ideas for this fall leadership conference. We're feeling really confident that while this is not a complete replacement for an in-person conference at all, that nothing will ever replace that. This is going to be a pretty great substitute, and I'm excited to talk to you about it and to hopefully get you as excited as we are. Before we do dive in, though, I'm going to stop sharing this screen because I have our promo video hot off the presses, and I want to show you that. You'll be the first ones to see it today, or at all, actually. I don't even know if my staff has seen it. So let me stop sharing my screen real quick. And we are very excited to be partnering with Team Try and with Factor 110 again to be able to give you guys a really great conference experience. Let me get my presentation back up. Maybe. I'm sorry. Things are being slow today. We're going backwards. Technical difficulties for sure right now. Okay, so let's see. Let me get my cameras back on. Okay, perfect. So my Zoom is acting up just a little bit. Will someone put in the chat if you can see a screen that says virtual conference, Try Leadership, Factor 110? Okay, perfect. I'm so sorry for the technical difficulties. Okay, so, and yes, I agree. We're gonna get our video up on YouTube. I wanted to show you all, and then I have the decade advisors right after this call. So we'll be showing you all that first, and then we're gonna be getting it up so that we can share it. You can share it with your students, and we can start really marketing this conference. So, okay. So yes, we're partnering with Tri Leadership. They're giving most of our content to us this year. So we're partnering with them to do all of our leadership workshops. We're working with their leadership voices style tests, and all of the workshops are going to be tailored to those individual tests that your students take to be beneficial to them based on their style of leadership. And we also have the officers from both DECA and BPA that will be presenting workshops. We'll have some advisor opportunities as well. Factor 110 is providing all of our promotional content for the conference. So everything that we can pre-record will be pre-recorded with Factor 110 for quality and to make sure that your students are really getting an experience that is similar to a conference. We didn't want it to be something where they logged on and sat in front of the computer screen and were bored for a whole day. We really wanted to provide that exciting atmosphere that they get during a regular conference, even though it is virtual and they could be at home or in their classroom. Wherever they are, we want them to get excited about BPA. We want them to move forward with the year with a passion to serve your chapter and our members and to do everything that BPA has to offer. So we're also working with Eskimo Joe's promotional products, and I'll show you a little bit what we're going to be doing there. I think you'll be excited about that and what we can offer the students this year. Okay, so this year we are charging a reduced rate of $30 for registration. That'll be per student. That includes individual login credentials for the training and conference site. Something really awesome about that is that you're actually going to get about 2 weeks worth of access to the training site that has over 800 hours of leadership videos and resources on it. Something that Team Tri has told me that teachers really like is that there is a downloadable resource section. And they said that while the teachers may not always watch the leadership videos, they do go down and to the download section and really download anything and everything that they can. So that'll be available to anyone who pays that $30 registration fee. And you're really getting an experience instead of just a one conference day there. You're going to be able to do, 4 hours of leadership if you want, or 400 hours of leadership if you want. So your students have a big option there. You'll also get a personal style leadership test, which will tell them what leadership style they have, which will kind of navigate them through the conference, which workshops might be best for them to go to based off of those leadership styles. Because we are virtual, we'll be able to do breakout rooms based upon their leadership styles. So if they're talking with people who are of similar leadership styles and things like that. So really honing in on making this an individualized experience for them, something that might not be as easy to do at an on-site fall leadership conference. You'll have access to the leadership workshops and all of the recordings afterwards. So just like you would at a regular fall leadership conference, so the day of leadership workshops that we're presenting. You'll also get a t-shirt included in that. We're also going to be doing a branded face mask. So we'll do Oklahoma BPA branded face masks, a face mask lanyard. When I talk to students and we started asking, what do you want, even if you are not on site at conference, what do you need? And overwhelmingly, they all told me that they needed lanyards because they collect them from every conference. So while we won't have name badge lanyards, we're going to be providing some branded face mask lanyards. So if they still have a lanyard they can keep, and it's very specific to this year. So you'll also be getting a conference workbook. So that'll function like our conference program, but also have some areas where they can work, and we'll relate back to the workshops and things like that. We'll also be providing a branded pin, and then the officers really wanted to make sure that all of our students got some candy for their experience, because nothing is better than sitting in front of a virtual conference than with something to eat. So we'll be providing some candy there. So we're really making this $30 stretch. What you see here is kind of what the tangible items that you get, but that $30 registration per student is also covering all of our promotional and promotion production type things on the back end, all of our Zoom rooms and things like that. So we're making your $30 registration fee stretch as much as we can, because we know that dollars are tight this year. So recruitment, use this as a recruitment tool. You let fall leadership be something that gets your students excited for BPA. We're not going to require any students to be members of BPA to attend. So use this conference to get your students excited if they're thinking about joining BPA, see if they want to attend fall leadership conference to kind of spark that interest. There will be no limit this year on chapter registration numbers. That's another positive to having a virtual environment, is that we're not capped at 2,000 people due to venue capacity. So we have plenty of space. Team Tri has assured me that if we max out their Zoom rooms, that they're willing to get another one. So send all of your students. We also, you can market it to your students. We don't have to worry about travel or hotel costs. This is a one-fee conference in essence. You have your registration fee, and that's it. You don't have to worry about getting to the hotel and paying for rooms or anything like that. So use this as a recruitment tool. If you need help with ideas for that, let me know. Okay, also we're providing an incentive this year. So the BPA chapter with the most student FLC registrations is going to get a personal virtual chapter visit from the entire state officer team. So, and this can be tailored to what your chapter wants. If you are wanting something, a leadership style workshop with the entire team, or if you're kind of wanting a question and answer panel, we can work with whichever chapter has the most student FLC registrations to make sure that this is something really valuable to their chapter to help them get through the year successfully and to make the best of it and to celebrate them for attending our conference. Monitoring the chat. So Cassie Petty has asked, how will the students receive the registration materials and gifts? So we're working on that right now. So you will get them the week before Fall Leadership Conference, and I have some dates and things that I'll give you on cutoffs and things like that so that we can hit all of our targets to get those things to you. So whether we're mailing them or delivering them, we'll let you know, and it's going to kind of follow safety protocols and things like that at the time. But we're going to get everything to you. You don't have to worry about any of that. Okay, so important dates. Registration with a guaranteed kit is going to close on September 10th, 2020. So I know that that's coming up close, and I know that's going to be a really hard deadline for some of you to hit when you're starting school at the end of August. I recognize that, and if we can, we'll place another order for kits if we have enough, or if we do have to, we can do that. However, I cannot guarantee them to your schools by Fall Leadership Conference if you do not register by that September 10th mark, and there will be a late fee incurred after that date. However, we will allow registrations up until October 2nd, which is the Friday before the conference. So, and then, like I said, we can order kits afterwards and things like that, but you will not be guaranteed to have those before FLC if you do not register by the 10th of September. And something that's really critical to kind of the success of the conference is we'll be giving those leadership tests, and they'll be able to take that test as soon as we send them the link. And so that's going to help them navigate and kind of plan out their day for what they want to do at Fall Leadership Conference. It's not crucial that they take that test prior to that day, but it does help if they have that access and things like that. They get a little bit more for their money there. Pin designs are still going to be accepted, and we're still going to vote on those, and they are due on September 28th, 2020. Okay, so how do you promote this virtual conference when everything else seems to be virtual this year? And we have a date that's coming up really fast. So BPA merchandise, all the students I've talked to, they love BPA merchandise. It's going to be Oklahoma branded. It's going to have the FLC stuff. Some of it will have the FLC logo on it. They're getting a lot for their $30 that they're paying. So I know that's one way that we can really get them excited. It is co-curricular, and all of this is going to be leadership focused. So you can use BPA within your classrooms. Again, it is a one-fee conference. You don't have to worry about taking the chapter out to lunch. You don't have to worry about hotel fees or transportation costs and things like that. So in essence, we could market this to more students than we ever have before because it is more affordable. And then resources, you're going to be getting all of those resources for an extended amount of time. Those are both for students and advisors, and I think you'll find those really valuable. And it is individualized in more of a way than it has been in the past. So those students are going to take their individual tests, and they're going to get to be sorted into their breakout rooms and workshops as an individual, rather than going to whichever room has the most space or something like that. And then quality, we have partnered with some really quality companies in Oklahoma to provide you the very best conference that we can. And so we're really thankful for Tri Leadership and Factor Within for working with us on this project. Okay, so let's talk about questions about FLC right now before we move on to talking about State Leadership Conference and National Leadership Conference. Does anyone have questions?
Yeah, I've got one question.
Okay.
The T-shirt and other things that the students will receive on the FLC, how are they going to get them?
So that depending on when you register, as long as you hit that before September the 10th deadline, then you'll be getting those the week before Fall Leadership Conference, and we will work once we kind of know who is signing up, what schools, that kind of thing, and we'll work with you all to get those delivered or mailed to you. So we're going to take care of all of that on our end, and you'll get those the week before Fall Leadership Conference. So depending on what your school district is doing, if you are if you have students kind of all over the place virtual, or if you guys are on site, we'll work with you. Since this is an ever-changing time, we're going to be really flexible in how we do this, but I will keep you informed.
Paxton, I've got a question.
Okay.
Are the advisors required to be there? What do we do during this time?
So you will also be able to take advantage of all of the things that are included in that. So I will have some advisor workshops that you guys will be able to take advantage of. You will have, if you do register, you'll have access to all of those resources, and you can download all of those. You can use them throughout, however long, once you download them, they're yours. So you are welcome to attend, and I mean, I would encourage you to attend. It will be a really good day for that. And I will have some activities for you guys, workshops, discussion in the areas, things like that. Let's see, Jeanette Slater has asked, what are the hours? So starting about 9 a.m. on the 5th and ending about 3 p.m. So that's going to be the day of the 5th. There's plenty of breaks worked in and things like that. That's not a whole day of sitting in front of the computer. And then we're looking at having a session that can be watched live or watched as a recording a little bit later that would announce winners of things. So it's kind of like a final wrap-up session. And I'll be giving you guys more information on that right now. Dr. Winston's rolling out all the details. Let's see, will there be a graphic of the, yes, so we will get that put out to you guys. The FLC site and information will be finalized this week. So we're waiting kind of on the promo video and a few different images from the promotional company. So you'll be getting access, and I'll send out a link detailing everything to all of the Fall Leadership Conference materials this week. Let's see, will we be able to get a copy of this slideshow? Yes. So yes, I will post this on the BPA website in our resources area, and I'll show you guys at the end of this presentation where all of that is. I have my school is 90% free and reduced. Any suggestions on raising funds to pay for conference? So I know fundraising is going to be a little bit difficult this year. So Mr. Mack, if you will send me an email, let's brainstorm kind of based off of what you have been doing in the past. And that's something that we can talk about. And anyone, if you're having questions like that, I am more than happy to talk to you on a one-on-one, knowing what your chapter can do, what they've done in the past, what works for you, what doesn't work, just because we know that not one hat doesn't fit everyone's chapter. So Mr. Mack, if you'll send me an email asking about that, then I can help you brainstorm some ways to help raise some conference funds. Okay, any other questions about FLC? Okay, so Cindy Newman has a question. I'm unsure how to get students involved with FLC when it's during class time. So Cindy, are you wondering about how to promote it or on the day of?
More than anything, the day of. I mean, because we're synchronous online, so I only have them my hour, then they go to their next class. I mean, it's not just, okay. I don't just have those students during that time.
So, and something that, again, everyone's doing something different this year. So I have talked to a few advisors who have said that this would, because it is a conference, this is something that their students would be able to get permission to step away from their classes that day as they would a regular conference on site. So I'm not sure what your school district's policies are on that this year. So let me know, and I'll try to figure out the best way for that. But so I know some schools are looking at that. They'll have the students basically be excused that day to attend the conference. We'll also be recording a lot of the conference, so it wouldn't be the same experience, but they would have access to it that way. So Cindy and anyone who has that same concern or issue, let me know kind of what your school's policies are, and we can find out the best way for you to view that. And that also helps me plan with the team how we can address the most students and how we can meet all of their needs collectively while everything is so different. So let me know if you have a concern like that. Okay, any other questions about FLC? Okay, well, if you do have, yeah, oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. With that, the attendance part thing, will there be a way for us as sponsors to know about our students being logged in, like how for the summit, our attendance was kind of tracked? Will that be?
Yes, so we'll, they'll have to sign in and things like that. And we'll be tracking attendance as best as we can. So that's not to say, obviously we can't keep someone from turning their camera off and walking away or anything like that, but
Right.
we'll track the attendance as best as we can. Especially, I know that's important if you're off site and if your students are not all in your classroom doing that. So yes, we'll be tracking that as best as possible.
Thank you.
Yes.
Paxton, is there a way for that to be, that information given to us? Again, we're 100% online.
Mhm.
So my principal asked, how are you going to know if your kids are there?
Right.
So, is there a way if we've registered them that we know where they, you see what I'm saying?
No, I completely get it. So what we could do, and I'll address this with Team Try and see kind of if they have some solutions. They've been doing a lot of virtual conferences all summer. So we're not their first one, and I'm sure that they've kind of encountered this as well. So looking at maybe the best way, if maybe it is updates throughout the day, or if it's a schedule before, knowing what they might be in and you having access to pop in and out to check on things. I'll do some research on that so that we can figure out the best way for, especially those of you who are virtual and don't have physical eyes on your students, so that you know where they are and that they're attending and participating and all of that.
What were the times again, Paxton? I know you said 9 a.m. and I missed
9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Okay.
And then things will be recorded, and then you'll also have the 2-week access to all of the leadership materials. So
Thank you.
yes, you're welcome. Okay, any other questions? Okay, and again, if you have any questions at all, don't hesitate to email me and we can get those addressed. If it's something I haven't thought of, it would be really great to have that email too so that we can address it and make this the best experience for everyone involved. Okay, so State Leadership Conference. We talked earlier, we are planning right now for an on-site conference in Tulsa, as we have had in years past. Dates for that are March 9th through 10th. The dates most likely, even if we do go virtual, will not change, so keep those dates in mind. For the main content, we'll outline virtual things as we get to that point. Again, using the Hyatt Regency downtown and the Tulsa Performing Arts Center, which everyone seems to really love. So the big question, what if we can't have an in-person conference? So know that at a national level, BPA is working on systems that will allow us to compete virtually, and that I am definitely willing and ready to conduct a virtual conference for Oklahoma members if that is what we need to do. Safety will be the top priority. If we need to have some sort of hybrid as well, we can do that. So know that I'm going to make sure that your members have the best year, and we're going to make sure that they get to compete that as many things as they can, whether we're on site, whether we're virtual, or whether we're doing a hybrid situation. So we're going to take care of your members this year. We're going to make sure that they have all the opportunities that BPA can offer. Okay, so the Oklahoma WASP guides will be released in October. So like I said before, SEAC has been kind of ahead of the game this year, and everything is getting final audited and finalized and things like that. So we should have everything in October, and I'll keep you guys updated. So keep checking your emails for that, and those will detail competitions for the year. WASP changes and updates. I'll read to you some of the highlights today. If you do have a chance and you didn't get to watch the August 5th presentation that Mr. Schultz and Mr. Birch did about competitive events, I encourage you to do so. It's on our BPA website, and it's also on the OK BPA YouTube channel. So some of the main highlights, broadcast news production is being included in post-secondaries. We also have ethics and professionalism that is going to be offered as a secondary event. So I know those are two big events in Oklahoma, and I was excited to see those added for divisions that they weren't before. Another big thing this year is that we have the introduction to the 600th level health administration category. So those events are all going to be focused on health administration. I was told that it's something that BPA has been working on for several years, so they were very excited to finalize that. And I know that it's going to help a very unique cluster of our members and advisors who haven't had events to compete in that correspond with their classes. So we're really excited about that. That includes ICD-10, the diagnostic coding test. We have the health insurance and medical billing. We also have medical office procedures, health leadership, and medical terminology. Oklahoma will be offering all new events that are included in the WASP this year, all pilots and everything. So we will offer as many opportunities to our students as we can. And that, again, is whether we're virtual or in person or doing a hybrid conference. And let me pull up the link real quick for that workshop because it is really valuable. So let me find the link for that real quick. I will put that into the chat. So if you do want to watch, again, in-depth look at the competition updates, I'll put that link in the chat now. And that is the link there. Okay, so State Leadership Conference, I know it's a little bit far off and we have a lot of uncertainty, but does anyone have any immediate questions about that right now? Okay, again, I'll keep you guys as updated as possible with what we're doing. You know, expect something probably November if we haven't made a decision before, to have some really finalized plans on what we're doing and how we're doing it for State Leadership Conference. Okay, so National Leadership Conference 2020-21 is in Orlando, Florida from May 5th through 9th. Again, Nationals is planning it as an on-site conference right now. So this is what we know, what I've learned from summer conference. National, as Mr. Birch mentioned before, National BPA is planning for both no matter what, and that I think is really important to everyone. Something that I always get questions about is where are we in the hotel rotation? Oklahoma will be second in the hotel rotation this year. There's only 2 hotels and the conference hotel holds quite a bit of people. So I am fairly certain that we'll be allotted rooms in the conference hotels. Once that is rolled out, rates will be released then. And I'll keep you guys all updated on that as I know about it. And the National BPA told us, the state advisors at our summer conference, that NLC, a decision about NLC will be made in December so that they can plan, so that we can plan and all of that. So I will keep you guys as updated as I am and make sure that you all know what's going on with NLC and SLC as well. Okay, are there any questions about NLC? Okay, so National is producing a whole lot of content this year, especially virtual content that your members can really take advantage of. So again, we have the student certification series, the advisor certification series. Those things we have participated in before, and I encourage you to use those again. So they'll be producing some new content for those, be watching the BPA website. If you haven't signed up for the source newsletter, I encourage you to do so. They send out quite a bit of information there. Something really wonderful about the new membership site is that we can send alerts to you, so as soon as you log in, you might get a little pop-up that alerts you to a reminder or something like that. So that might be a way that Nationals will be sending some communication out to you, or I can send communication to you. National BPA is working on webinars that are pre-recorded where you can just go and watch, and I know they have some interactive features to those as well. They're rolling out some advisor training, which I think is really special and needed. So, and I'll be promoting that whenever we get more information. So, and just know I've been on a lot of calls the last few weeks with National BPA, and I know that they're really working hard to make sure that the membership dollars are put to good use and that we're offering students and advisors as much as we can this year, making sure that the membership dollar is, you know, more than what you're paying for. So you're getting a lot of content and a lot of options and a lot of opportunities. Okay, so just some miscellaneous updates. Something that I have changed this year is that the state officer applications are going to be due on December 1st. So those are typically not due until after Christmas. However, we're moving those up to get them out of the way of State Leadership Conference. If you have students who want to campaign and want to run, they can do that by December 1st, and then they can just focus on State Leadership Conference and planning. And you as an advisor can also focus on State Leadership Conference and planning and not worrying about screening and things like that. So keep that date in mind. It is a drastic change. We're going to try it out this year. I'm hopeful that it's going to be really positive and help with some stress levels. So December 1st is the deadline for state officer applications. The state officer applications will be the complete one, updated ones for this new year will be available after Fall Leadership Conference this year or around that date. We are going to have a new competition just at a state level this year, something that won't advance you to nationals, but we'll make sure we have some really great prizes and awards for that. And that is going to be a BPA promotional video contest. And that is something that we just really need every year. I get advisors asking, what is something that I can show my students to get them interested in BPA? And we've never, to my knowledge, had a promotional video that we can just use from year to year. So that competition is going to be built around building a promotional video, and the details will be different every year. We're going to try that out this year. Again, it won't advance to nationals, but we'll make sure that we have some really great awards and things like that for the students who participate in that. I have made some changes to the Oklahoma BPA website. I encourage you to go look at that, especially if you go to the information resources section, information library. The first tab down is the advisor quick links, and I encourage you to check that out. It has things broken up into Oklahoma resources, national resources, and then videos and presentations, which is where I'm storing all of the recordings and things like that from the past few weeks. And that will be storing for the rest of the year as well. And there's also a new tab called Virtual BPA, and that is not just for virtual members or anything like that. It is everything kind of focused on this year and being virtual and things like that. There's we're going to be loading chapter activity ideas, virtual meeting tips. It's for your students. It's for you as advisors. There's going to be Zoom backgrounds, links to things that Nationals is doing to cope with the virtual environments that we're in. All of that. So check out that tab. I encourage you to have your students check it out. We'll be adding more content to that over the next few weeks. Okay, something that is new with the new membership system is that chapter IDs are now unique. So they're going, some of them may change. This year you may not have the same chapter ID, but everyone's going to have the same chapter ID we won't recycle them anymore. So if they're moving from secondary to post-secondary, they're going to keep the same chapter ID, all of that. And then again, I know you guys know those chapter logos can be requested from Nationals, and the person that you're emailing is Heather Thunning. If you need a chapter logo made, you can send me an email and I can forward it to her. Any questions about those random updates? I have an alert that says my speaker's not working. Okay, so if you're talking, I might not be able to hear you. Okay, any questions? Okay, so moving on, I've told you guys several times in this workshop that we're going to give you all that we can this year. So Oklahoma BPA is committed to making sure that you have all of the opportunities and training opportunities and virtual engagement things that you may need for your students. And that's something that we're doing at a state level, and I know they're also doing at a national level as well. So one thing that we're offering is virtual chapter visits. We just did our first one Friday in Visay, thanks to Ms. Kelsey Evans for inviting our officers. They had a great time, and they were able to interact. We had about 4 officers, and they were able to connect with her chapter there to do some recruitment and things like that. So right now, virtual chapter visits are what we're doing. As we move through the year, we're always open to on-site and virtual as long as safety is a priority. So if you are interested in doing that, we do have a form on the website where you can email me, and I can help you get all of that set up. And so you can have one officer there, you can have multiple officers. It can be for a chapter activity, it can be for recruitment, it can be a torch ceremony. I mean, the list is endless. So let me know if you do want to have that opportunity. This year, there's no reason that the state officers can't travel the state virtually to visit all of you and your members. And then chapter planning. So I know that each of your chapters is different. We've talked about it a little bit during this call, that there are things that will work for one BPA chapter that aren't going to work so well for another. Some chapters thrive on competition, some thrive with community service. And I realize that. So I'm happy to help you in a one-on-one conversation, figure out the best way to make your chapter move forward and be successful this school year. So let me know if you would like that help, and we can create an actionable list of things that you can do this year to get your chapter really succeeding and thriving and being the best chapter that it can be, specific to your students and your community. And then another thing that we're offering is virtual office hours. So I know that this is gonna be a crazy year. We're gonna have lots of questions and things like that. So I will be offering virtual office hours. They'll be very casual, not required, anything like that, on Wednesdays from 3:45 to 4:45. And that is unless we have a conference or holiday. Wednesdays will be the day that I turn on Zoom. And if you show up, we can chat. If you and another advisor wanna show up and discuss things, we can send you to a breakout room and you can do that. So it is open to you to use. And that is every Wednesday from 3:45 to 4:45. And we'll be starting that next week on August 26th. And the link for that is on the virtual BPA page on the website. So again, here's our social media. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And we also have the BPA OK.org website where we put everything specific to Oklahoma BPA. And I want to thank you guys for sitting through. I know this was a really long update, and I'm happy to stick around for about another 30 minutes to answer questions and things like that. So if you don't have questions, you are welcome to leave. If you do, I am here and ready to answer your questions. Thank you guys for being here today. Feel free to email me or call me. This presentation will be posted on the website and on YouTube as well. Yes.
Before everybody jumps off, I would like to talk a little bit about some membership.
Okay, go for it, Trent.
One thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about, as Paxton mentioned earlier, I'm on the National Board of Trustees. I am the mid-level representative. And for all of you secondary who get the joy, like I do, of getting to have some 8th graders as well, guys, I want to help you in any way that I can in increasing your mid-level, because it is one of my goals, and this is what I told the board during my nomination, was that my goal was to see a drastic increase, especially at our state level, potentially moving on to the national level. But I wanted to see a major increase at our state level. So if there is anything that I can do to help you in doing that, give you some advice, especially from a guy who went from no mid-level to mid-level, that I can do to help you guys be successful in doing this. It's not as expensive as secondary. The membership price is less. So I'm going to answer this question because this has been a consistent one I've gotten. I use my affiliation dues for my secondary, and then I fill in where my mid-level want to come in and be competitive. Guys, I went from 0 8th graders last year to 4, and all 4 of mine placed at state. I found 4 kids that I thought would take and run with it, and they did incredible. The mid-level, guys, is a area that your administration will love you for because it is hard to get middle schoolers involved. So if you can fill that void, it makes it absolutely incredible. So just a little pitch, as the mid-level representative on the National Board of Trustees, I'm here for you. I want to help you. And this is a great way for us to tip over the edge of the iceberg and increase our membership. This is in my opinion, is one of the easiest ways for us to increase membership, and not to mention be super competitive in an area that is very, very untapped in our state. So again, I'll put my email in the chat. Give me a shout. I talk on the phone. I like coffee. I like food. I will meet you. I'll meet you virtually, whatever we need to do to increase those numbers. That is my goal. It was a pitch, like I said, in the national board. So please let me help you if there's any way I can. Paxton, thank you so much for letting me make that pitch.
Perfect. Thanks, Trent. And to piggyback off of that, our mid-level competition day, this will be our 3rd mid-level competition day, is scheduled to be on February 24th. And right now, again, we're planning for that to be in person, but we'll keep you updated. And we will offer all the opportunities we can for our mid-level students as well, either virtual or on-site. Okay, any other questions today?
Paxton, what was that date again?
February 24th.
Thank you.
So, and I know, let me post a link. We have our important dates up, which will detail anything and everything that our division is doing. And I have that. It's on the Advisor Quick Links page of the BPA website, but I'm also going to post it here, the link, so you can get to that. So I'll detail registration deadlines, late fee deadlines, the pin design deadline, all of it. Okay. Any other questions, or if people are just needing to have discussion time, if we can have that too, whatever you need.
Paxton, this is Terry Ray. Is there a what? Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. Is there a way that we can register like 14 students for FLC without turning in names and all that information by the 10th, and then give you the names later?
That I'm gonna have to look. So we do have the new conference site, and I actually have it pulled up, and I can post a link for everyone here that they can just grab for what that registration site is. I'm gonna have to look, Terry, and see if we can do that.
Okay.
I'm fine with that, but I'm gonna have to see if the system will allow us to do that.
Okay. Yeah, our officers won't be selected by then, and I just was trying to not be late on that. So, or
right. No, and that
officers being elected earlier.
Okay, and that helps me as well. So let me look into that and see how we can do that in kind of a spot situation
Okay.
instead of a by name if we need to.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. We have a question about brain bench testing. I think it changed. Is there a fee? Yes. So Teresa, the name changed to SHL Talent Central. Let me see if anyone, Carrie and Jackie, are you still on the call?
Yes, I'm still here. This is Jackie.
Did you see Teresa Thompson's question about brain bench? She's asking if there's a fee for the school or per teacher. Could you talk about that a little bit?
Sure, there are videos out there explaining everything about SHL, and that is located out on the YouTube channel. But to access it, it's not public. You will need to use the link that I sent out in the spreadsheet. That explains how much it costs, who to contact, how to administer the tests, all that kind of information. But if you have specific questions, go ahead and email me and I can address those. It is per PID. I saw the comment in the chat. And the reason why that has been changed is so that it is more equitable for the schools and the programs. You know, it was based on a school in the past, but for teachers or schools that had 5 teachers compared to a school that has 1, it really wasn't equitable. So that has been changed. It is per PID.
Are there any other questions? Let's see if we have another message. And Mr. Birch, so Mark, do you care if I share this?
No, go right ahead.
Okay, so he did mention that precision is great for small schools and it's just a fee per test. So and that's something that you can use as well. Perfect. Thank you, Carrie. She has shared all the information about SHL testing and the link for that. So if you need that, you can grab that from the chat. Okay, great. Are there any other questions? I hate to keep asking, but I don't want to keep you all longer than you need. I also don't want to cut you all off if you have something to ask. Okay, well, it looks like there are no other questions. If you do think of a question, just email me or call me and I will answer it or do my best to find the information to answer it for you. So I hope that all of you have a fantastic year. Know that our office is here to support you in any way that we can. And we are ready to make this a just phenomenal year for your students. So thank you guys for joining us today. I appreciate all of you.
Thank you, Paxton, so much for everything.
Thank you.